All right, guys, welcome. We're streaming Group D of the tournament, and we should be underway any minute. So let's get started here. I'm gonna go ahead and post you Discord posts, let people know that we're underway. All right. And let me tell the competitors that they're good to go. All right, so here what we have up in front of us is the bidding app, and we're gonna wait for them to create a room and go ahead and jump in and spectate the combinations and start talking about what we've got in front of us. So let's see here. I just okay, so they're creating the bid room now. So let's see here. There it is. Okay, this is what we've got in front of us, guys. So let's grab our handy dandy tier list for a moment and talk about the strength of these combinations. So first we have Tagawa Engineering, which ranks in as a D combination. We have Saxony Patriotic, which is a B combination. We have Polania Militant on the board, which is an A combination and hands down the most powerful combination on this board. And finally we have Albion Agricultural, which is a D combination. So it pretty much goes without saying that you want to get Polania Militant, and you'd love to get the best deal possible on Polania Militant. But there are a few considerations to think about here. And if you guys, I don't have chat up on the screen, unfortunately, because we're streaming on YouTube, and there's not a great way to do that that I'm aware of. But let's talk about these combinations a little bit while we're waiting for the other competitors to join the bidding room. First, we got Tagawa Engineering. And as you guys may very well be aware, Tagawa Engineering has no coins underneath the mech deploys. So you can create a lot of coins with Tagawa Engineering by upgrading and building, but it's an extremely vulnerable combination because you either spend turns making mechs and getting essentially no coins for it, or you don't make the mechs and then someone who really wants to ruin your game can bump a lot of workers and really set you back. And that's happened some in this tournament, and it's a problem when it does happen and can hurt Tagawa a lot. Saxony Patriotic and Albion Agricultural have something in common, and that is both of them bolster quite a bit. Saxony Patriotic bolsters because the bolster is over the deploy, and as you all are probably aware, mechs are incredibly important for Saxony. So Saxony is going to have quite a bit of power in this game. Similarly, if we look at Albion Agricultural, we see that the bolster is over Enlist. And Enlists are very important for Albion because, well, you start with no combat cards. And the best way to get combat cards is to enlist. So Albion's going to have a lot of power. Saxony's going to have a lot of power. Tagawa will have power if they choose to bid. So Polania Militant has to... Zulo says, I need to get my friends into playing bid style. Yeah, man, I've got a video on how to bid. If you... I don't know if you're on Discord. Let's see if this works. I just set these up. I don't know if you're on Discord, but Nightbot is not my friend today, it looks like. But let's see, I can shoot and Wait, did it work? Yes, it did. Join my Discord server. The link's in chat. So if you join the Discord server, there's a how to bid channel, and that has a video that goes over the best way to bid and how to use this bidding app that we have up in front of us, whether it's on a computer or just a mobile device sitting around the table. It's a really great system. Also, if you another resource, if your friends are new to bidding, is this tier list that some of us created that ranks the strength of the various combos. We just went over it a minute ago, kind of analyzing these combos. So we were talking about how much power the various combinations have, and the reason I was talking about that is anytime there's a powerful combination on the board that utilizes the militant or the innovative board, you have to think, how am I going to get combats? Because the innovative board is played essentially the same way for every faction. And that is, you get your deploys because they're underproduced, you get your enlists because they're under move, and you get combat worker objective. So it's a real bummer if you get an objective you can't complete with the militant or the innovative board. So you're taking a risk anyway bidding on those, just like with Saxony. Saxony's dependent upon objectives, so that can be a big deal too. But if everyone on the board has a lot more power than you, then you have to think in terms about ganging up with 3 versus 1 and taking advantage of combat cards to get your combat, because it's going to be hard to drain enough power from the other players to get combats. You really have to be on the lookout early in the game for easy combats. Albion is a place that you can invade because there are lakes all over Albion's base. So it may be that Polania, with an amazing encounter, can get into Albion's base and pull a combat or two, which would be great for them. Albion Agricultural depends on how it's played, can hide pretty effectively from Saxony if they go to the village next to Nordic and focus on their enlists and their power. It's difficult for Saxony to get to that area of the board without multiple movements, and Albion Agricultural is pretty shielded and not a great source of combats for Saxony. Polania would be a pretty good source of combats for Saxony to slow down the most powerful faction combination on the board, but they can also hide on lakes, which can be a challenge if you're Saxony. There will be an encounter in Rustviet's base that Polania can access that Saxony cannot reach. There will be one in Nordic space that Saxony cannot reach until they have Riverwalk, which is usually the 3rd mech. So Polania can count on getting probably 4 encounters pretty reliably. Albion's probably not going to beat them to the Nordic encounter. There's a good chance no one beats them to the village encounter. And no one's really going to go to the Rustviet encounter unless Tagawa rushes the factory and then decides to build Toka and cross the river into Rustviet's base. So I think Polania has to be the high bid here, with Saxony Patriotic in second. And then it's really a toss-up between Albion Agricultural and Tagawa Engineering. I think Tagawa Engineering is perhaps a little bit more... It's hard because Tagawa is going to be very vulnerable and really depend on traps to not get attacked until they start building buildings, which is going to take a little while to set up. Albion, on the other hand, can hide from Saxony pretty effectively, and by the time they start coming out of their base, they could have a ton of power, but perhaps not a ton of combat cards. If Tagawa Engineering enlists, and Polania enlists, which they probably will with the militant board, Albion could be sitting on a number of combat cards, which would make it very difficult for Saxony to get combats off of them. So it's really an interesting pairing of factions. I think I want Polania militant if I were playing in this game, and I think I want to focus on trying to get my bottom row actions quickly and then spreading around the board to try to keep the game going long enough to get my combats. Zulo says, feels like Polania will be able to fly around the board with Tagawa Albion moving the Tagawa's and Albion's move limitations. Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think it's going to take Albion quite a bit of time to get out of their base. Tagawa may choose to just move every other turn and occupy a lot of territory, which if they do that, can really interfere with Polania's opportunity to get out of their base. Polania Militant is super strong, but without a good encounter that gives metal, they're not the fastest to get out of their base. With that being said, that Militant board can just give you an absurd number of coins. You're able to make those mechs. Another thing Polania Militant can struggle with is creating the metal for the mechs. It's 3 metal on the Militant board to deploy. You can upgrade it once. One upgrade is incredibly powerful because what it lets you do is trade for metal for those deploys instead of having to produce. The difficulty of having to produce for those deploys is that, well, there aren't a lot of safe metal spaces for Polania. So let's think about where the mountains are. There's one in Nordic space that Saxony can reach. There's one in Rustfiat space, which is the safest one, but doesn't offer a lot of opportunity to spread. They can Riverwalk exit Rustfiat's base through the mountain that's adjacent to the factory, but it's not like being on a tunnel where you can really move around. The tunnel is vulnerable to Saxony, especially once they get disarmed, and Tagawa's mountain is almost certainly going to be trapped. So Polania, if they're going to produce metal, is probably looking at Rustfiat's mountain as their best opportunity because Tagawa and Albion are each interfering with a mountain. Saxony can reach them on the tunnel and can reach them in Nordic's base, as well as Riverwalk to the mountain in Crimea's base. So Polania's just got a limited number of options when it comes to that. Let's see here. We are still waiting on Anya Block join the bidding room, and we are still waiting on Zagor to join the bidding room, but he's standing by. So it looks like they are going to start the bidding in 2 more minutes because that's the tournament. If someone doesn't show up after 15 minutes, then you go with who you have. So bid amounts, let's see if we can get this up on the screen. I think it's pinned in draft stats in the main Discord. Well, I'll set those up later. But a very good player named Mr. Durr created a spreadsheet with various bidding values for the different combinations. And they're just estimates, mind you. They're certainly affected by what else is in the game. But he has Tagawa Engineering at 4 coins, Albion Agricultural at 3 coins, Saxony Patriotic at 6 coins, and Polania Militant at where is it? 16 coins. And if that's where the bidding wound up, I kind of like Saxony Patriotic in that. Because Saxony Patriotic, I think, is more than a couple coins better than Tagawa and Albion. And here's where it can be so tricky to play a bid game, because if everyone plays optimally, Albion and Tagawa should play in a way to keep Polania from getting combats, because the game can just be over so quickly if Polania Militant gets combats. They can get a tremendous amount of coin. They can end the game really soon. So you have to deny Polania Militant, which is going to be a low power combination, because as you see, their bolster is over upgrade and it gives no coins. Upgrades are not something the Militant board focuses on. So Polania is going to be at low power and struggle to get those combats, but if Tagawa and Albion don't play in such a way to prevent Polania from getting those combats, you can be in a lot of trouble as Saxony. Because Polania is hiding out on the lakes and getting their bottom row actions and suddenly comes off the lakes to end the game. And as Saxony, you're wishing you had bid Polania up a little bit more. So let's see here. I got to mention in the Discord. We've switched over to a 2-player bid room. Alright, so that was fun. We talked about the... Well, wait a second. They have a 3rd player that weighed in. Who was the 4th player in there? I thought Zagor was the 4th player, but maybe not. Oh, it's Pascal. My bad. Don't mind me. I'm not sure they're going to want to play these two. Yeah, they're going to re-roll. Let's back out of here real quick and join the next room. Well, guys, we talked a little bit about that combination, but unfortunately, 2 of the players didn't show up. So we're just going to see a 2-player game, which should be really interesting. Picked IFA again. No, that's the same game. Just got to wait for the new game to be created. High tier. Okay, they're going to play a high tier game. And what high tier does is it excludes the engineering and agricultural mats and takes, I think, Tagawa and Albion out of the equation. Alright, I hope they go with this one. This is a good combination. You have a very fast Saxony industrial mat, which can trade for metal and then produce immediately to get a mech, get a lot of board spread very quickly. Against a Polania combination, which is a little bit slower to get on the board because you've got to get some upgrades on deploy, but the bolster is over deploy, so Polania can be sitting on a lot of power. So it's hard to know. I mean, this is a pretty even matchup. I don't really expect these bids to go super long. I really wanted to see that 4-player matchup, so a bit of a bummer that 2 players didn't show up, but it is possible. It is possible that some of the players will show up before the 30-minute mark, and we might get a chance to see a 3 or 4-player game after all. 2-player Scythe is very interesting, though. We had a 2-player tournament recently, and it's a whole different ball of wax. This will be fun to watch, because Saxony needs those combats and can only get them off of Polania. Polania can hide on the water, though, so we could see this going. It'll be probably be a shorter game time-wise, or at least about the same as a normal game time-wise. But we could see, instead of something like 14 to 16 rounds, which is pretty normal for a tournament, something like 19 to 22 rounds. But like I said, it goes faster because you only have 2 players. Oh! Auction ended. Yep. Didn't think there would be a huge difference between those. So, let's get the bidding app off the screen. And copy the clipboard. I'm going to get these bids on the screen for you guys. So we got Saxony Industrial, $2. And we have Polania Patriotic at $0. All right, got those on there. Gotta add one of these players to the buddy list here, so we can see when they go live and start the game. So, you know, I'm thinking this through and who I like in this combination. I think if you're Saxony Industrial, you want to start quickly. You want to beat Polania to the factory, and you can. Saxony Industrial can get to the factory in 6 turns and can 100% beat Polania Patriotic there. Because if Polania picks up something like a popularity card and factory card in 2 players and can move themselves up to tier 2 or tier 3, it is going to be very hard for Saxony that game. Saxony needs a factory card. Saxony needs to be in a position to bump workers potentially every turn and to attack, because Polania is going to have a lot of power. So the way you compensate in a 2-player game for your opponent having a lot of power as Saxony is you take advantage of the fact that all they can get are 2 combat stars. So it doesn't matter if you lose 6 fights as long as you win 1, as long as you win 3 or 4. So a lot of combats is good if you're Saxony, for sure. Let's see here. Caitlin's still showing as offline, so she should be signing on any minute now. Just give him a minute to set the game up. Let's see here. See if they're making. Already made. Huh. Let's add the other person. I don't know why Caitlin's not showing online. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Round 1. This should be fun. So a typical first start with Saxony is a trade for metal and to go straight into producing the speed mech. get this worker up on the village, and get the character to the encounter. As a good encounter, like an upgrade encounter where you can upgrade the move and the deploy, speeds up Saxony's game a lot. It allows them to double and triple team. And on top of that, you have to do fewer trades for metal if you get an upgrade on the deploy. I think Polania is probably going to start here with a trade for oil, because that patriotic board is going to need some upgrades. Otherwise, it's just going to take way too long to get out the max. We saw the trade for oil out of Polania. Probably going to see the produce out of Saxony. Doesn't really matter which side, which hex they put the mech on. There's a speed mech. Now, I said that Saxony can get through the factory in 6 turns. That is not true if they take this encounter. The way you would get to the factory in 6 turns is you would move the mech and the worker here, and then just move the character 1 spot. And then get 2 mechs out, speed and underpass. Take this mech using speed here to here, and then the character from controlled mountain to factory. So as soon as this character moves to this encounter, the chance for a 6-turn factory is gone. Let's see what Polania upgraded. They upgraded the move and the deploy, which, you know, makes a lot of sense. Typical start is to trade for oil twice, and then to start trading for your mechs if you don't get metal off the encounter. Hopefully you do. Saxony has move over look at this. Is it a factory rush? Hey Pavel, hello, how's it going, man? Just saw your message there. Oh, Saxony is going to rush the factory, so we'll see a trade for 2 metal, a produce into another mech, and then factory round 6. That is what is happening. And I think that's a good call. I think beating Polania to that factory and making sure Polania doesn't get a really good factory card is huge. I think it's huge for keeping Polania from controlling and dominating the game. So Polania has the option to also move this worker here, which would speed up the production of their workers, but I like to leave it here because it only costs 3 food to enlist. This right here gives Polania enough food for all their enlists, I think. No, it doesn't, not quite. It gives them enough food for the next 2 enlists, because they'll make one food with this worker twice, combine it with 4 of this food. So that's 2 enlists right there. So the question is, do you want to burn your popularity to build a structure, like a mine, and only have to trade your way to 1 mech, come out to this village encounter, and then work your way toward the factory? The positive about that is you don't have to build 2 mechs to get off your base. The negative is if Saxony attacks you here and manages to send you back, you've just gotten a huge setback in your game, because you've got a speed mech and it takes you a whole turn just to get back out to this village. And then you got to do something else before you come back out. See what Polania upgraded. They upgraded the mech deploy, so they're going to trade their way to a couple mechs here. And there we go, underpass. Saxony is moving to the factory the next round, I do believe. Because if they were going for this encounter, they could have taken this first one, because then it would just be this mech and this worker to this mountain, and then the character moves here, controls the mountain, and moves straight to the encounter. Leaving the character at this mountain space indicates to me that they are going to the factory next turn. All right, we're at the 30-minute mark. So the other two players have unfortunately missed their window. What do you guys like in this game so far? I'm really on the fence about this one. Polania is so strong in two-player, but Saxony just has the ability to just relentlessly attack and make it difficult for Polania to produce or get things done on the board. Whose turn is it? Polania's turn. There's the medal. It's going to be for that first mech. And here we go, factory card. This is a big moment in this game because the factory card Saxony gets is going to have a huge impact on what their game looks like. I think you want to take an enlist factory card if you can get it, but there's also a very strong argument for keeping Polania from getting a popularity factory card. So I think you have to, if you've got both, you really have to think about which one you're going to take. You're really hoping the power for 2 popularity one is not in there. Okay, this is a good factory card. Oh, 1 factory card and 0 upgrades. Okay. That is a good objective for Saxony, especially early. This is the first enlist out of Polania. So if I'm Saxony, maybe I just go ahead and use that factory card right off, grab an encounter out of it, and upgrade my move and my deploy. Because getting some upgrades is really going to help my game move along. And you know, if you get metal off the encounter, that's huge. Even 2 metal with an upgrade on this deploy would be enough for your last 2 mechs. And that saves you a turn trading. And having this triple move is just so strong if you're Saxony. Because, I mean, it kind of goes without saying that with as much power as Polania is going to have, it's pretty key that you can gang up on them and use combat cards. And that's what we do see. We do see a factory card use. And they chose to upgrade the bolster. So if it's me here, I think strongly about paying that $2, denying the worker, and taking 2 metal as the resources. But they're going to throw down their popularity and get an enlistment. Which, you know, is not a bad option either, because they can enlist this coin upgrade or the enlist upgrade, and either get several coins out of Polania, probably 4, plus 2 out of them. That'd be 6 coins right there off of that enlist. Or they can go with this combat card enlist, get 2 initially, and then probably 3 more cards off of Polania's enlists. So, which one did they take? They take the coin enlist, which is not a bad option at all. Check in with the score. Really early for the score to matter too much, but right now the coin difference is about the same. I would be surprised if that holds. It's difficult for Saxony Industrial, not impossible, but difficult for Saxony Industrial to keep up with Polania Patriotic on coins. So Polania has their speed mech right now. So Saxony is going to bolster into another upgrade this next turn after that trade for oil. I mean, we could see another produce out of Polania here. Would be in list number 2. We could see a trade for metal, set up mech number 2. I mean, Polania has to sit and think about this for a minute, because if Saxony took that card for an upgrade, factory card, there's a good chance there's not a popularity factory card in there or an enlist factory card. And if there's neither one, it's difficult to know how much utility Polania is really going to get out of the factory card. Being able to move every turn is huge, but if you don't have a bottom row action factory card that you need, or you don't have a popularity factory card, it doesn't really speed your game up as much as you would like. I mean, if you're wanting to stall the game, coin factory card could be really good as well. Let's see, what is a Saxony's bolstered, which takes them to 5 power, and they upgraded their move and deploy, which was a great option here. Now they can produce twice, get 8 workers and 4 mechs. So Saxony's looking at 3 stars by turn 11. But Polania, about to go to 10 power. 2 mechs. Plus an additional 3 coins after they pay for the bolster. I mean, they could produce here. Get another enlist. Wait a little patiently. Saxony's already beat him to the factory, so there's not a huge hurry to get there. Pavel, I thought you were playing Sax, but you're just commenting a game. Yeah, this is a tournament game. We try to cover them when we can. And I had some free time to jump on and do this one. Polania is playing the Patriotic mat, if you missed it earlier. And Saxony is playing the Industrial mat. The Polania can move to the factory next turn, but I think that you've waited this long to get to the factory. It's turn 10. You might as well wait one more turn and produce into another enlist. Because that means when you move, you're going to have some workers to move as well, so you're not spending one whole move just going to the factory. Now, we got to think about what happens if we go to the factory as Polania. There's a mech here, and it can go to this mountain and then the factory. And then, of course, this mech can go to the factory. Or Saxony could use their factory card again. They've got 5 cards, which is great, especially since they're burning them with their factory card. And just attack one-on-one. Probably wouldn't win one-on-one. But yeah, if I'm Polania, I think I produce one more time here. Is this divide and conquer, guys? I don't know what's happening here. No objective. I mean, Saxony didn't deploy Riverwalk. Polania was safe for another few turns on their base. And they have a lot of power. I'm not really sure what the thinking is here. It's a close game, for sure. Saxony can use this factory card again. They're still 4 upgrades away from the upgrade star, which in a normal game would not be particularly viable, but in a 2-player game it may be. You want to leave at least 3 workers on the village here because you only have 1 more deploy left, and you only need 1 metal to get it. And deploy, as we see, is under produce. So a little spread here makes sense. Getting on a tunnel makes sense. Saxony has disarm. Ooh, they can't take number 3 because they don't have any popularity, but number 2 is really tempting. Takes you to 7 power, and it gives you more combat cards, not just to fight with, but to use that factory card. I mean, Polania's got to produce here. There's nothing else to do. And this is in list number 2. Polania's game moving slightly slow to this point. And I mean, this is a produce out of Sax, right? And mech number 4 goes right here. Right here. Now, Saxony next turn, and I would totally do this, can river walk into this village and bump 4 workers back to base. And that would be absolutely devastating for Polania, because that means Polania has to lose a combat and get sent back to base just to move out multiple workers at a time. Saxony has turned in 1 objective, may have another one. Like we said, they're 4 upgrades away from the upgrade star. At this point, I think you just start spreading as Saxony, stealing those encounters from Polania so that Polania can't benefit from them, daring them to come ashore, and occupying as much territory as you possibly can. You've got enough power to win a fight. Polania right now doesn't have a safe place to trade the metal because they didn't take any workers with them with these mechs. So, I mean, I'm not sure what you do as Polania here. I mean, maybe you move to the factory, trade for metal, but there's a good chance it gets stolen. Check the score. Still close. Still early though. After bids, Saxony's up by 4. But they're getting ready to grab 2 stars, which will take them up. Oh no, they just grabbed the 2 stars, that's right. Yeah, you're in a tough spot if you're Polania, because wherever you put that metal, Saxony can steal it. Okay, he's gonna grab an encounter. You're really hoping for metal on this encounter. Ooh, and you're gonna attack Saxony. This is a good place to attack Saxony, because this is not a place that Saxony can get back to easily. They can't river walk to it through here, which means they have to come all the way around this way. And even with this mech on the mountain right here and on the tunnel, it's still 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. So that's 2 turns, a factory move and a regular move to get back here. And Polania's got 2 units on there. They've got 5 combat cards. They are probably going to throw 2 of them and enough power. I'm kind of surprised they didn't use their 3rd move to move a worker to here. Because you only need 3 workers on this village to get to 8 your next produce. So you might as well... Oh no, they grabbed the encounter with the 3rd move. What am I saying? Polania throws 2 cards, but gets out of the fight without using much power at all. It probably means they are not going to get the power star though. They might. They get the right encounter. The mech is nice, guys, but I don't like paying $4 for a mech, especially when you've got a board like the Patriotic board that gives you a lot of coins for a mech. You net 3 coins with a bolster deploy with the mech. Giving up 4 coins for that mech, that's a 7-point swing. That's huge. So it speeds you up a turn or two, for sure. But 7 coins? Is it really worth it? What are the other options though? You could pay 2 popularity, gain $2.82 resources. I think that's the money pick. Doesn't look like you're playing a tier 2 game. You're only at 3 popularity. Of course, have you taken the popularity bonus off your enlist? You haven't. So if you take this, you go to 4. The next enlist takes you to 6, and one more encounter takes you to 7. So this plus this means a tier 2 popularity game. This plus this means we're trying to speed the game up, get some more coins, and get some metal on the board so that we can turn around and deploy a mech here and protect these workers. Because hopefully for Polania, Saxony doesn't bump them this game. Because that would be hard to recover from. Moment of truth, Polania. What do we see for option number 2? It is going to be the 2 popularity for the $2 and 2 resources. I would bet it is going to be metal, but we'll see. Another thing, if Saxony bumps these workers, this is literally the only place Polania can put a mech. Which would open Saxony up to attack them on land the very next turn. They could only attack with 1 unit. But they could attack with 1 unit and bring this unit into here. Got some options to pressure Polania. Polania just took the last encounter that Saxony cannot reach with 4 mechs. Riverwalk to here. This is on the open board. This is on the open board in 2 spaces from here. Riverwalk to here. Riverwalk to here. Polania is going to have to figure out how continue their economy without being able to spend time on land. There's the 2 metal. And the 2 oil is nice because it allows them to get an upgrade. See, that's... You know, I get that. You now have enough metal for your last 2 mechs, which is really nice. I would have been tempted to go with the enlist upgrade. Alright, there's a factory card use. Here goes Saxony. Are we bumping these workers? I would totally do it. Either from here, or even from here. There it goes. That's just crushing. That's why earlier in the game, when I said that Polania could produce 1 more time and be patient, we go to 5 workers, and then as they moved onto the water to take a factory card, they could have brought the workers with them and put them on useful resources to create. Check in on that score. They're still just neck and neck score-wise. Polania does not have a really great way to run an economy at this point. That 19 coin is helping, but Saxony's at 13. So the coin disparity is not that huge. But it's just one coin different. There's that mech going right there like we talked about. Riverwalk. Riverwalk. Guys, why would Polania go Riverwalk? What are they thinking there? Oh, they went Riverwalk because they already have speed and submerge. And Saxony's got all these lone mechs with no workers, so they don't feel like they need camaraderie. Yes, Polania might be better off just moving a worker to the wood spot, but depends if Sax punishes them. Yeah, maybe so. Ooh. Saxony upgraded the building, and now they're going to trade their way to buildings. Saxony does not have a lot of confidence that Polania is going to give them any combats in this game. And that's what I would take from that. The next move, what's the build bonus? Neighboring lakes. So when you're playing neighboring lakes, if you take this one up here, this one down here, that's 4 lakes, and then here would be 5, 6. How do you get the 7 lakes, guys? Forget. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 5, 6. And then it's got to be right here, 7, right? Because they're just... No, 6. 6 is enough to get the maximum bonus. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on one of these spaces gives you 5, 6. So we may see Saxony move to the factory here and build a mine, which I think would be a really good call, because disarm works on a mine. So Polania can't really attack the factory without losing power, and I think they want to get that power star. This could be a really good time for Saxony to go ahead and attack Polania here. And, you know, throw just enough to where Polania has to use power to win the fight. Saxony for sure needs to start spreading out. They need to create some score distance between them and Polania, because the coin difference is becoming somewhat significant. We're talking about 9 coins. I mean, it's a little scary to be Saxony and only be 2 ahead, despite having 2 more stars, and Polania having only 1 worker on the entire board. A little scary. Your Saxony. Plus, it's not a big bid, but you have that $2 bid to make up. What's Polania gonna do? What they can do. They cannot bolster into their last mech. Produce would give them almost nothing. They only need 3 upgrades for the upgrade star. So they could try trading for oil. They could trade for some food to set up in list number 3. Or they could start moving some of those workers out. You move out 3 of those workers to that food spot and you do the same thing. You set yourself up for an enlist, while giving yourself a chance to move some of these workers out. Do they have a factory card? Yeah, Polania chose not to go and get a factory card. If they had, they could use one of these mechs to submerge and then riverwalk down to here and attack Saxony that way. Not a lot of added benefit for that. Another thing you could do is you can move 2 workers out to this farm and then attack Saxony on the village. Set yourself up to produce into 8 workers. But you need 2 more produces, really, unless you're going to pull an enlist off another encounter, and there's not an obvious candidate for where you're going to get another encounter without exposing yourself to Saxony. It's going to be a move action, taking one of the mechs to the water. Polania is really adverse here to giving Saxony combats. But it's at the expense of their own game at this point. Got one more move. One more move. Where are they going to go? I can see them taking the mech that's on the farm out to the water. But really, I don't think they needed to move those 2 mechs to the lakes. They're pretty safe up there. I mean, there's no running out of time in this game. It's a play and go game. They have plenty of time. So what's your plan to 6 stars, Polania? I mean, this would be a good time to move this character over here to the factory. I mean, you risk giving up a combat star on this medal, I suppose, because Saxony could attack you 2v1, pick up a combat star, and steal your medal, which you were going to use to get your mech star. Polania is 1 awkward power short of the power star. Waiting on Polania to make one more move, right? Okay, there it is. I think Kaz mentioned moving a worker out to that wood spot. Try to prevent Saxony from sending another unit into the base. Alright. Time to move and build that building, right, Saxony? I mean, if it's me, maybe I move workers out to this village right here and build on this village. It's good. Pick up another encounter. Probably leave 1 worker here because that gives this character the flexibility to move up to this encounter later without abandoning and still pick up a territory, because you wouldn't lose this one. Saxony has no popularity. I liked it more when those Kaz says, I liked it more when those workers were still on the village, especially since I don't think Polania needed that combat. Oh! Saxony is going to go after Polania here. So the character comes out. The middle move. Just spreading to tunnels. Do we have underground advantage, maybe? I mean, Saxony can force a win on this. I mean, what are we going to build? Maybe a mine right here? Give these units a chance to get out? Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Saxony has to take the popularity here. Nothing else. You don't want to waste $4 on a mech when you have them all. I'm guessing mine right here. Yeah. That's going to open up Saxony to some spread. Polania burned their move last turn. So I guess all you have to do is bolster and deploy a mech right here. The power star is out of the question now. You're at 2 stars. Saxony's 4. It is a tie game after bids, guys. Exactly tied. All right, building seems to be the plan. Oh, what if Saxony has build local infrastructure? If they have build local infrastructure, they don't need another combat. Now it's going to take them a few turns to end. That's 3 regular move actions with build underneath them. And 2 trades in between. So that would be a 21 round game, but they would spend their entire time it's been the entire time moving and spreading out. So I think there's a very real chance that we're looking at build local infrastructure here. Saxony has 0 power. So Polania can come out here. And I mean, really they could take 3 of these workers down here, drop 1 here, and then attack this farm space and probably bump Saxony back for a star and set themselves up for the worker star next turn, which would put them at 4 stars. The problem about burning power if you're Polania right now is you have to worry about Sax repeatedly attacking you, but you've got to get to 6 stars somehow if you're Polania. My money is on Saxony having build local infrastructure. That's the only reason I can think of that they would be going for buildings right now instead of just going for the upgrades. Is if they have an objective where building it's 2 birds with 1 stone. How's the picture, guys? Haven't been on YouTube streaming in a while. Did a poll recently and asked subscribers if they used Twitch or if they would watch more on live if it streamed on YouTube. And almost 85% of people said they'd watch more live if it was on YouTube, and been watching some videos and reading some stuff that suggests that Twitch is kind of slowly dying for various reasons. So I'm gonna stream on YouTube for a bit, see if it's more convenient for people. I think you don't have to even have an account, and pretty much everybody has a Gmail account, which is what they're logged into when they're using YouTube. So Saxony has used about 11 minutes and 16 seconds. Polania has used 26 minutes. Quality seems the same. Good. That's good. So Polania moves out here. Don't really know about that. I mean, I guess you produce once, you save a pop, you produce once, get an enlist, move to this village, leaving 2 workers and bringing 3 with you, and produce again and get your enlist and your worker star, enlist, worker star, combat. Okay. Sax is excited. I mean, if they have 3 cards that add up to 12 right now, after burning like a 2. See, why do you do this? I don't know why you do this. It was already invulnerable right there. You bump a worker on the tunnel. Now Saxony can attack you and disarm you. And I mean, you've got to spend either 5 power or a combat card and some power to guarantee this victory. And I feel like you've got to guarantee the victory. Say you have a 3 card and you spend, 3 power and a 2. Oh my goodness. Saxony this turn can disarm Polania by attacking them with 3 units, bringing them down to 3 power, and then they just need 3 combat cards that add up to 8. That's essentially what, a 2 3s and a 2 out of their 5 cards. I mean, I don't see any way Polania doesn't get attacked here. Of course, look at Polania with this coin advantage up by, after bids, 11 coins. So that's the problem. If Sax does attack, I think they need a little bit more spread before they do that. So let's see, we got 1 move with Saxony out to this encounter. Just trying to pick up resources, I guess, maybe some wood. If Saxony goes to 5 stars, Polania is just going to start attacking them repeatedly to bounce them back to base. Because all Polania needs now is their objective, 2 enlists, and 8 workers. And they can get the workers and the enlists off of, and let's see, produce, move, produce in 3 turns. Right? Maybe Saxony has 2 4s here. Let's watch this timer for a second up here to see how quickly Saxony locks in. Polania locked in really quickly. They're throwing low. Saxony throws to 2 4s. Ensures a victory at 8. Pay $2 to gain 4 wood. You wanted wood, but those $2 are precious right now. Oh, you're in the lead. You're exactly tied. You take the wood, for sure. Yes. And good to spin this wood because there's only 1 unit there. Polania cannot move. I think we're going to see it produce here. Saxony adds a little bit of coin and a second lake. Up by 2 after the bid right now. There's the produce we were talking about. Right. I don't know why Saxony left 3 workers right here when 1 worker really would have been sufficient to build the building. And I don't know why they went to this wood space when they could have gone... Oh, duh. They attacked Polania on that wood space. Saxony now with 2 combats. Maybe all they needed. You get a dry bolster out of them. I guess they're saving their cards, and there was really nothing else to do. Saxony can end in 3 turns if they have build local infrastructure. Let's see, Polania can move here though. Is it time to suicide on Sax? It is. Saxony cannot take a star. But you have to worry if you win the fight, Saxony is going to come back and spread out and hit you and win. So there's some math that has to happen here. You're up by 2. You can move 3 workers to here, 1 worker to here, and then you could attack Saxony right here. I mean, I think Saxony has built local infrastructure. I think this is ending next turn. If Saxony has built local infrastructure, I don't think the math is there for Polania to prevent it. I just don't. Because what Saxony is going to do is they're going to move to the factory, which is going to be a pickup of 8 coins right there with that 1 move. And then they're probably going to move a worker over here. Is this game, guys? No, no. They went to lakes. They didn't leave the... Alright. If Saxony has built local infrastructure, this game's over. Duckclave says the quality's better than on Twitch. That's great, man. Wonderful. Alright, do we see build local infrastructure? The math is there. They're up by 4. Saxony just has to pick up 6. Here it goes. 1. Coming to the factory. Maybe moving this one now and spreading out. This tunnel, in all likelihood. Yeah, we got build local infrastructure here. Wait for it. There it is. I didn't see it, but that's what it was. Well played, Saxony. Final score after bids, Saxony 64, Polania 51. Well played by Saxony. Good job against a high power combination in Polania, being able to pull 2 combats to Polania's 2 combats. And fortunate enough to get 2 objectives. I don't remember the first objective, but build local infrastructure is not an easy objective. So to get build local infrastructure and end in 19 turns is definitely well played. So guys, thanks for tuning in. It was great to hang out with you. If you want to watch more on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you've already done that, there's a little bell next to it. Hit that bell button and it should alert you the next time the channel goes live. So thanks for tuning in. We'll do this again soon. Catch you later.